In a newly released national security strategy document, the American President Donald Trump has outlined Washington's foreign policy priorities. The document notes that the Indo-Pacific accounts for one-third of the global economic output by nominal GDP, and its share is only expected to grow. It further says that the region will remain a key economic and geopolitical battleground and has reaffirmed Washington's goal of maintaining a free and an open Indo-Pacific. The White House further said that the United States is deepening its alliances and partnerships in the Indo-Pacific region. It expects the region to be the bedrock of security and prosperity in the future. And this includes agreements that President Trump has signed during his October 2025 Indo-Pacific tour in areas of commerce, culture, technology, and defense. Now, in the document, President Trump has also reiterated his earlier claim that he had helped negotiate peace between India and Pakistan during the armed conflict in the month of May. And this is despite the repeated assertions from India that no third country has been involved in the truce. The strategy document also mentions the need to strengthen commercial and strategic ties with New Delhi, especially through the Quadrilateral Security Dialogue, or the Quad, with nations such as Australia, Japan, and India. However, compared to the last strategy document that was unveiled by Donald Trump in 2017, there's a significant shift in how Washington views its relationship with India and also with Pakistan. The 2025 document seems to downgrade India's strategic salience. The 2017 report had welcomed India's emergence as a leading global power. It saw New Delhi a stronger strategic and defense partner for the United States, but the 2025 strategy report only calls for improving commercial and other relations with India. It aims to encourage New Delhi to contribute to Indo-Pacific security through cooperation in the Quad. The Quad receives only this single passing mention in the entire document. The 2025 document makes no critical references to Pakistan. In 2017, Washington had called out Islamabad for harboring transnational terrorists and militants that operate from its soil. It had also urged Pakistan to intensify its counter-terrorism efforts. Furthermore, the 2017 document had said that no partnership can survive a country's support for militants and terrorists. It also warned that Pakistan to be responsible towards its nuclear assets. However, the 2025 strategy document makes no such critical mention. The omission is glaring despite the Pahalgam terror attack and also Islamabad's continued support to terror activities against India. All right, now joining us on the broadcast, we've got Dr. Tara Kartha, who's a former director of National Security Council Secretariat and also a former senior fellow at the U.S. Institute of Peace. Dr. Tara Kartha, thank you very much indeed, ma'am, for joining us here on WION. Now, how do you see this changing American approach vis-a-vis India, where Donald Trump in particular seems to have a completely different kind of a worldview, even if we were to contrast this with how he had perceived India in his first term? What do you think has brought about this change?
See, the document as a whole, and parts of it are a little hilarious also. With the whole, it's not written as a great power. You know, when you think of a great power writing a document, there is a certain structure around it. There's a certain vision. But that's none of that is here. Mm-hmm. Number two, it is, however, a very honest document. It says these are our priorities, Western Hemisphere. You know, it's back to the Monroe Doctrine.
Right.
This is our core interests. The rest of the world thing is really nothing. We cannot. It's not possible for us to control the whole world, which is true. Mm-hmm. And the other, the fact that India and Pakistan is just ignored. I don't think we should. I mean, ideally, I would like them to focus a little more on terrorism, considering that the US has had its share of terror from an Afghan recently. You know, all that seems to have just, sort of gone over the heads. So it's a completely different worldview, very restrictive, but it mentions China, like you said, about 21 times. Mm-hmm. The concern is, the framing is largely economic.
Right.
You know, it's not talking of China as this major competitor, peer competitor, all that language, like you very correctly stated in the earlier in the earlier documents, but it also says that the whole impact of Taiwan, why Taiwan, if China takes over Taiwan, it's a direct threat to the United States. I mean, that is what is implied, though it doesn't say so in so many words. And of course, the Indo-Pacific, therefore, is a focus of interest.
I think you mentioned that this is a document that appears to be more realistic. It is a national security strategy document for the Americans. Do you think this is a realization on the part of the American security strategists that America is not what it was earlier, and this is probably a superpower that is now beginning to accept that the world is more a multipolar world and no longer a unipolar world?
Yeah, that's a good point. Yes, it is in part. But if you look at earlier documents also, what the US promises is not what it always does, right? But also its actual capabilities, even say during the time of Obama, to make a difference in all over the world was limited. So this document recognizes that. However, there's one difference, one important difference regarding India, which I want to point out.
Go ahead.
The whole thing says that, you have a threat. You have to help us deal with it. US is not going to give you any free aid, any kind of, nothing of that sort. They're not, Europe has been torn apart royally in this document. Russia is not mentioned as a threat, which is also true. For years, the US has brought out this thing of Soviet Union as a threat, Russia as a threat, it's got XYZ, it's got this, it's got to come. Russia is nowhere near what it was. And Absolutely. It recognizes this. So in many ways, it's a very realistic document. And in last year, in the Shanghai, that dialogue, there was at that time also mentioned that, you have a threat, India has a threat, you all have this China threat. I have a sense that they're all going to tell you to increase your defense expenditure.
I think this is classic Donald Trump in his transactional way of working, where he has said that it is not America's business to provide security to other allies. He perhaps looks at his allies, the American allies, more as vassals who need to step up for their own security. And I think that is what this national security strategy document also highlights. Thank you very much indeed, Dr. Karthik. We're completely out of time. Thank you very much indeed for joining us with your valuable perspective there. For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.